you're thinking about getting into model railroading or you're already an addict, boy do I have a project for you. In this episode, we start pulling the hills up for the logging camp, and we start right now. Welcome to It's My Railroad, the how-to show for regular people. Hey, if you haven't already done it, how about pushing that subscribe button down there? We have so many more of these episodes coming up. We're having a lot of fun digging the community, hanging out with people like my friend Randy at Randy's Rock and Roll Railroad. It's tons of fun. You don't want to miss any of it. Now, you may be wondering what this is about. Well, sadly, our good friend Steve is feeling under the weather this week, but he agreed to come out and show us how he does his regular guy thing anyway. The mask is so you don't get sick by getting too close to your monitor. So the longer we stay here, the more of an opportunity you're gonna have to get sick. Why don't we just go ahead and go into the hobby room? All right, welcome back to the hobby room and to the Brown Smith Railroad. I'm feeling a little under the weather today, but the show must go on, so bear with me as we get into this. What I'd like to do today is I'd like to start getting these mountains in back here, these hills back in the background. As I continue to say, if I can get that in, then we can carve it up, we can sculpt and mold it, and then I can lay the tracks. There's a sequence of events we've been talking about that probably needs to happen to get this layout done. The good news is at least I can still run my trains while we're doing all that. The bad news is I can't do anything with the logging camp yet. So why don't we just jump right in and get to work? Let's start back here where the old logging camp used to be. So after giving it some thought, I came to the conclusion I don't think we can have a really steep incline right here. I think we'll start encroaching on the structures and stuff that's there. I can't really put anything on it anyway, so it'll probably just end up with some trees or whatever. That being the case, I think what we should do is take this low rise back here and just sort of keep it going along there, let it maybe build up a little bit through here, and then I'll show you what we're going to do in that other section in just a minute. I got an old piece of just 3/8 styrofoam here. It's just stuff I bought at the hobby store back when I did the expansion over at Switch Junction. And what I think I want to do is, well, first of all, I need to get myself a nice clean edge there. So we'll take my X-Acto knife and just sort of eyeball me a clean edge right along there, like that. Okay. There's my clean edge. Now, if you remember, right along here, I don't glue the styrofoam together. This is a joint right here that lets the two sections of layout come apart from each other. So anyway, we cut that little stuff square. Maybe line that right up like that. Gonna line this up with where the back piece is. And we know we've got a track zone right here. Remember that from last time? We went ahead and we drew these black lines around where the track zone is going to be. So even right now, I can see that that sticks out too far. But that doesn't matter, because I don't want this to come out probably any further than this until maybe as we start rounding this corner. I think, in fact, I think I just want to give that a shot. And, you know, I hate to say it over and over again, but it's my railroad, so whatever. What I think I want to do is draw me a line from, like, well, maybe here. Just sort of bring it back like this, like that. Again, all of this is just to get us some rough stuff to build something on. This isn't going to be the final mountain. It's just going to be something that we can start applying sculpt and mold and then actually shaping all of that into the actual shapes we're looking for. So look, there we go. The beginnings of a mountain. Yay! I know it looks kind of skinny, but that's kind of gonna be what we have to deal with, I'm afraid. What we can do, first of all, let's go ahead and pin that down. Just sort of keep it in place. Like that, that'll keep it in place. I think if we can find another little scrap somewhere that will eventually glue in. Hey, look, a little scrap. Matter of fact, I can get a couple little scraps out of that. Nice thin piece right through here. And just right under the back of this. Now look what happens when I do that. So yeah, we got a little bit of a rise there. It's sort of, you got a little bit of a slopage thing going here. See that? Some inconsistencies. I like it. I like it. And then maybe just for the giggle of it, when the time comes, we can have some little pieces like back in here, right here. We can start just shaping all that stuff down to make it look like some kind of a hillside back there. We can build it up with Sculpt-A-Mold. We can shave, like I said, we can shave this back down right here if we want to. We got all kinds of options right here. This little guy right here. Take a little piece like that, stick it down there. See how this is kind of sticking up, this is kind of more down there. We can do that. Anyway, as sort of pathetic as that looks, that is the first little piece of hillside that we're going to try to make right there. Let's move a little further along and see what we need to do to come back and maybe adjust that to look like something else. To do that, let's just go over here. Because over here, we want to try to extend this hillside across, and in some kind of way, we need to allow for the log loading platform that'll be kind of in here somewhere. It's going to kind of depend on how the hills come out, but what I'd like to start with first is I ended up over here with this sort of gap. It didn't really matter at the time, but what I think we should probably do is try to get a piece that we're going to ultimately end up gluing in like that, maybe up to here. Well, I cut that too short. I told you I was sick. What are we doing? What are we doing? All right, you know what? We're just going to make it work. Because we'll take this next piece here. We'll just continue it on from there. It'll be fine. Trust me. Hey, it's my railroad. Just kidding. So that goes there. All right, then I think what I want to do next, I'd like to get a little piece cut out that kind of goes like this and kind of joins up, and we'll put a little piece in over here too. So to do that, I've got my my trusty 3/8 inch styrofoam, and I just sort of lay it in here. Well, maybe this way. Well, it's going to be just a little too short to get over here, but it's styrofoam, so we'll just screw around with it when the time comes. I am going to lay this right in here like this. Again, we're not going to worry about this over here. This can be filled in with whatever we want to fill it in with. So we know that it's ultimately got to end up here, and we'll say ultimately end up here. So if we just sort of get this meandering piece moving along here like this, and then we'll cut that out. We'll just see what that looks like for starters. Not really worried about a straight edge, a clean edge. This is just hog it out and lay it in time. That's all we're doing here. All right, one of the things that I can see is we've sort of encroached on the track zone down here. Track zone comes all the way back to there. Well, isn't that just fine and dandy? It goes kind of like this. So we'll just cut some more of that out. I would say that's a little bit closer. So the track will get laid in up to about here. We can slope that away. We can do whatever, depending on what happens with the track. So this track can go here. We'll sort of just bring all this down when the time comes and blend it in there, and I think we'll be looking pretty good. So let's do the old pin it down technique really quickly. Okay, now look at this. This one's sticking up, this one's flat. I'm not worried about that right now because I'm going to show you how we're going to make that transition in just a second. Because I just suddenly had a major brain hemorrhage right now and I figured it out. So I do want to get a piece that comes in right up to where this stops. Just to fill it in, just to be thorough. Right in here, like this. All right. And to continue this sort of thing here, I think if we just cut a curve here and then maybe flip that piece around, we can stuff it in there. Just kind of continue this around like that. Cut out like that. Stuff this in here and then cut it to fit as well. All right, there you go. Now, this is a good time to point out once again, there are a number of ways this can be done. There are guys that'll take pieces of cardboard and make this sort of woven basket thing and put strips of paper mache on it, or what they call plaster cloth, or you can just make a big block right here out of styrofoam and just shave it all down. I mean, I think you use whatever you've got lying around, whatever your skill level says, that's what you use. This is just something I ended up coming up with back in the day when I didn't know any better, and so far, I really can't complain. It seems to be working well. So anyway, back on topic. What I think we should do to get this to come up a little bit more, rather than this little technique, I got this sucker right here. Different piece of styrofoam, different kind. That, for starters, I'll just go ahead and get it close to the length we want. Like that. And then I'm just gonna, and I'll show you, you can't see it so good from out there, but from over here I can see this edge here. And so when I cut this out right now, like that, and put it back in, you can see what I'm talking about. Just something like that. All right, now, if we glue all this down, one of the things that will happen is we'll be able to just carve it up, butcher it up a little bit, and then go through and put the sculpt mold on. The sculpt mold, we can start getting shapes on it. You can actually give it sort of a granular look and stuff. It'll be really cool once we get there. If we ever get there, and the only way to get there is if I shut up and keep working. So here we go. I like to put maybe this little piece right here. We're gonna take, that way we can sort of slope up, have something built up there. I don't know. I know it's not grossly impressive right now, but I think we're getting close to a hillside. You know, just for the heck of it, I think we ought to put one more, just to give it some dimension. Put one more piece back up in here. Kind of right there. And then you cut this out. Right along here. This. Bada bing. I'd say one last little thing just to make me happy is we'll take one more little tiny piece of this thinner stuff and set it right kind of out in here. Maybe like this. See that? I think, my friends, that once all that gets glued down, we have the makings of a model railroad mountain. All right, let's get to gluing this down, shall we? You know, looking at this, there's actually one more thing I need to do. The original styrofoam is here. The new stuff is here. It all measures out to be the same height. The problem is, it's not. I don't know what happened. This sticks up a little bit higher here. See that? And it's really bad through here. So we can fix some of that before we put our road bed down, or actually it might add to how we put the road bed down. It might be kind of a cool effect. But one thing I have learned is if you don't have a flat, stable surface for your rails, your trains run the risk of running like crap. And I've had enough of that. So anyway, I think what we want to do is just cut some pieces and glue them in here. I have a hole there anyway to fill in. To do that, I'll just get some scrap right here. A piece of scrap. Kind of eyeball where it goes in. That. See that? We can look at that. It's almost exactly 3/8. Isn't that funny? Okay, I'm laughing. I don't know if you guys are laughing. I thought it was funny. And in here I have a similar problem. It's about this wide. All right, and this needs to come out about like this. All right, so later on, once all this dries and before we get the track going in right there, we'll take some carpenter's wood putty or some hydrocal or some of these other products that we make that we can lay down just where the track's going to go and sand it all smooth and make it perfect. But that's it for right now, I think. Let's just go ahead and get some glue on these pieces and then see what else we can get done today. We take our trusty wood glue. We'll start kind of, I guess, back here. It's the simple stuff like we did before. I mean, not a whole lot of this is actual rocket science. It's fun. As a matter of fact, this part that we're doing now, this is actually my my very favorite, is putting all the scenery and scenery related things down. And so that's what we're doing now. A little more glue on top of that. Just a little. And then along the back edge of here, because we know that sticks down over there, and then actually just the front edge of this side. And as always, I'm not worried about going heavy on the glue. It'll also act like a filler in case I screw something up. Like that. And take this last little piece here. Remember I told you last week, my little squeezy top doesn't exactly fit on here anymore, so this is what you get. Alright, now I'll just pin it back down and we'll just let it stay in its pin down position until it dries. I have learned, in case we didn't cover this before, I've learned if I stick that pin in sideways when it wants to lift up like this, what that'll do is it forms like this bar where it won't let it. If I put it like this, it can just pop it out. Here it's trying to pull it out this way. And anyway, that's a little technique that I picked up. Again, I'm not going to charge you extra for that one. You guys can just use that one for free. Put this in sideways. See how it kind of holds that down right there? That's very special. I'm proud of myself. Let's move over here now. Take this whole monstrosity off. Trying to keep in mind where all the pieces go. And this will go down on this one. There, see? A little bit of glue on that. Don't gotta get too crazy. I'm not building a military grade hill here where I have to worry about it disintegrating on impact. I just need to get it close to where I want it and get the glue to hold that sucker down. Believe you me, it will not go anywhere even with that little bit of glue on there. Put some more on here. There. Let me smooth that around just a little. Alright. And lay that piece in right where it goes. Back here. Alright, what comes next? This one's next. We determine it kind of goes like this. Right? And again, we're going to hack some of that away. But we need enough built up there so we have something to actually hack off. Otherwise, we'll just have to do something different, actually. Not the end of the world. Put that one on. Now see how that glue is spilling out right there? I don't know if you can see that. We got glue spilling out right here. Here's why I want to clean that off, even though you're never going to see it. And that is, I got to get in there with a knife at some point, start carving that out. And the more glue I have in there, the less styrofoam I'm cutting through, the more glue I'm cutting through. It's not the end of the world. It's just, you know, why make our lives more difficult if we don't have to? Let's get this last little piece up here. That. And I think we had this little guy. I have to glue this one in still too. I almost forgot. Don't you hate it when you have leftover part? Oh, that part goes right there. Okay, there you go. I'm like, I have leftover parts. I feel like I'm putting together one of the toys for my kids in Christmas past. But alas, we figured it out. It goes right here. Last three pieces over here. Yeah, if I had the squeezy top on the top of this glue, I think it would be easier. Because I wouldn't be putting so much on. I'm trying not to, but like I told you, I'm sick. I actually think I have a fever right now. You know where I'm from, that just sucks. Then we're going to connect that to the hill here at the summit. We'll put a little piece in there at some point and call it a day. This little drop right here. Ta-da! Something like that. And there we go. Just to make sure these don't go anywhere. They're not going to go anywhere, but I'm going to pin them in. Just push them down and pin them in. If they do go somewhere, it's because I have a poltergeist in my house, and that'll be a whole new set of videos that we'll do. All right, I got to glue these last two pieces in. Well, there we go. We have the beginnings of our logging camp hills put in there. Once that dries, we may want to do a little bit more to it, but I think for right now that looks pretty good. All right, I think we should let that dry at least overnight, and then probably we can come back in and start cutting some basic shapes down for the mountains down here, smooth all that out, and then mix up some of that Sculptamold and get going. So let's let that dry while we head back into the studio. Well, all right, there you go. He seems to be feeling much better, doesn't he? So I figured I'd take the mask off. I'm keeping it here just in case though. Anyway, there you go. We put some styrofoam up on the top, getting ready to build some more mountains. We're really moving along right now. Again, if you enjoy these shows, please push that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the ones coming up. If you like this episode, it's okay to push the thumbs up button down there, let the whole world know that you dig It's My Railroad. And you know, if you know somebody that might enjoy this too, learn something from it, go ahead and push that share button. It's a community and we love being part of it. Now let me ask you this question. If you haven't started building your model railroad yet, what are you waiting for? The National Junebug Convention? Thanks again for joining. My name is Steve Brown, and I will see you next time.